I decided now's the time to take off. And I took off.
So in our continuing series with Captain Bob Bitchin, the publisher of Latitudes and Attitudes, let's let him tell about how he went from biker to sailor to magazine publisher. Here's Bob.
I started out as bodyguard for Evel Knievel, and when he went into the ditch, I had to find something to do. Right. Everybody I met when I worked for Knievel was in the publishing business, and they were all rich. So I figured this is what I need to get into. I knew nothing about it. I'd never even been in a publishing office, and I started a little newspaper called Biker News, which turned into Biker Magazine.
Right.
Then I started Tattoo Magazine, and that was all in the late 70s and early 80s. And then in 1986, I sold the magazines, Tattoo and Biker Magazine, to Easy Riders Magazine. And at the time, I was living on a boat. And I decided now's the time to take off. And I took off. The mistake I've made my whole life is when I like something, I get really involved in it. And I liked sailing.
Right.
And so after kidnapping my bartender, who's now my wife, 20 years, but my bartender at the Portofino Yacht Club and Marina, which is where I lived, I kidnapped her, Jody, and we jumped on the boat. I told her we were going to go to the island. She thought I meant Catalina. I meant Tahiti. Shortly thereafter, we were sailing to Tahiti. It changed my life. It was right after I sold Biker and Tattoo magazines to Easy Rider. Thought I had enough money to sail around for a while. I had enough money to sail around for about, I think we made it for 8 or 9 years. And went everywhere we ever wanted to go. We didn't do a circumnavigation. We just sailed all over the world. We did the Pacific, went up to Hawaii for a while, came back through the Panama Canal after stopping at Redondo Beach, our home port, to annoy our friends.
Right.
And then told them, no, we're leaving again. And we went through the canal and went into the Caribbean, had a ball there. And then we went over to the Med, had a ball there. Turned around, came back, had a ball, met so many people. It was unbelievable. And during my cruise, I was writing a newsletter, just what I'd do is I would send a letter to a friend of mine who had an office, and his secretary would copy it. And then back then she would do copies of it, and she'd mail them to all the people on the mailing list. Started out with 30 people. By the time we got back, it was 300 people. So I said, when I came back, the only thing I knew was magazines at that time. My two best friends, one was the editor of Easy Rider, and the other was the editor of 5 magazines for Prime Media. One of them, they're all motorcycle related or car related, but and they said, you need to get back in publishing business. And I'm like, how do I do that? And one of them said, I can get you a contract with a distributor. The other one said, I can get you a contract with a printer. And less than a year later, the first issue of Latitudes and Attitudes came out. It was an instant, believe it or not, hit. It was, within 3 years, it was the best-selling marine title on the newsstands. And we published it for 18 years.
And that was the basis of my cruising problem. Thanks for that.
I ruined thousands of lives with that magazine, I can tell you. Because all we did was talk story about what it's like cruising.
Right.
We never tell people how to sail. We just tell them why.
Right. All right, we got all kind of stuff coming up. I'm just getting warmed up. I'll just warn you. So be sure and hit that subscription button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And I'll see you next time on
How Not to Sail. Screwing up is part of cruising. Let me show you how.